Hello.
How are you? Thank you for having me over.
Thank you for coming on Sunday after football and also after pickleball.
For the right reasons, if I'm moaning and groaning, you know why.
Tell me why you're saying yes to FC as Fight Club, a men's mental health organization. What your why around it, and how do you relate to men's mental health?
When you wrote to me and you said, let's talk, I'm like, wow. Either I can put up my price and say, oh, somebody wants to talk to me, or others actually realize how grateful we should be for the exposure, understand, and the ability to meet people from different generations, have that conversation. And to see a young, confident lady raising the flag for women, I wonder why we can't speak up for ourselves, but yeah. But it's good to see that something like this is happening.
Tell me, how do you think this generation of men, millennial men, are dealing with men's mental health, from your perspective?
For me as an individual, I think very lucky, very grateful. I have different groups of friends. And most of these, like I play football with a group of 14 to 65.
Yeah.
I go bike riding with 32 to 68, right? I have my college friends.
Yes.
I have my school friends. And we go play football for OBA, Old Boys Association, the alumni.
Yeah.
So the fact that you're able to see the spread and spectrum, for guys like me, it's a blessing. I don't know how many are that fortunate or willing to go out there and say, it's okay. So what if you're an old fogey? You can listen from someone young, you can learn from someone else. And I think the ability to share, have a conversation and not have the one-upmanship of who knows better, or this is our generation.
Yeah.
I think that's changing, and that's why I think, for me, I can speak about me personally.
Yeah.
Very thankful, very grateful for this spread.
So you think it is an open conversation among millennial men, that they are a lot more open to changing their perspective around, yes, we can talk about these things?
Yes, because many of us went through a phase where we either were so macho that we wouldn't share, or we were just whiners.
Earlier on?
No, during our growing up years, right? I'm saying in the 20s, there's a lot of transformations happening, work, lives, marriage, blah, blah, blah. You've gone from trying to be very macho to being a whiner. Today, I can sit over a beer and someone looks at you and says, hey, what's up? And, okay, man, not too bad, right? But at least better than saying, hey, all good, fantastic, right? Not too bad is at least a step forward. Most of our fathers were first-time fathers, right? Yep. So they were learning the ropes themselves. I don't know if you ever heard of something like the Britannica or the Encyclopedia. That's where we used to go for knowledge.
Encyclopedia, oh my God, I had the whole section.
Yeah, see?
That got us the whole 12 collection thing. Yes.
Those are like your go-to knowledge repositories. Today, it's there, fingertips. We grew up seeing that as a footprint. I come from Coop, where's macho, go hunting, prove yourself to be a man.
Yeah.
It helps in a lot of ways because it gives you a lot of resilience, it gives you a perspective, but the fine balance to be able to be in touch with your feminine side. I think this feminine side throws a lot of us men off.
Yeah.
I think if you just say ability to have enough EQ, EI, emotional intelligence and emotional quotient to make a difference, I think that makes it easier for someone to accept. Okay. This whole masculine, feminine, I think...
It becomes too much of a polarizing conversation. It doesn't allow people to actually come into that space.
IQ, EQ, SQ are easier to adapt, understand, have a conversation.
When men deal with their mental health, it doesn't have to equate to the way women deal with it.
Sure, I think they're different, we're unique in our own ways, but we're also human. Then I think there's an underlying factor that we're all human. I think we men come with a big ego. We can swallow some of that. I think we'll be fine. We have to be right.
I agree. But does that come from the previous generation? Is that where we learned it? Or is this more evolved now where it's a different economic system, it's a different social system? Are we just trying to navigate it? And while navigating it, we've become really...
I think personally we use all of these as excuses. Right? We hide behind these guys. He said, no, my dad. Come on, your dad did what he did and you are here because of that, right? You can't shy away from that fact.
Agreed.
We all make mistakes. We all have our idiosyncrasies, but because we're in an era where information is at your fingertips, you're meeting so many more people, accessibility, travel, education, literacy, everything is multifold.
Yeah.
I don't think we should start using excuses. We need to man up.
In an invitation to just own your own identity as a gender or whatever it is, right? Like it's not supposed to be invited to suppress. How is
it fine to be in a football field, fall, trip, get up and run, but not the same in life?
Yeah, lining up.
I see my dad today. He'd come and sit and have a drink with me, have a chat with me. We're cracking filthy jokes. We're talking about the world. Right? I give them a lot of credit for having adapted to us. Can we adapt then to the next generation rather than say, I can't work with any of these youngsters? I mean, come on. Someone said the same about you.
Exactly. And we say the same thing about every next generation. I'm pretty sure the Gen Zs will say the same thing about the alphas.
And we claim our generation is the best.
Do you think, as millennial men, are we as a collective giving the next generation of Gen Zs enough of a roadmap for them? Oh my God, there's a cat.
Good looking fella too.
So good looking.
I think we are examples. We will falter, we will do well, we will have our own life experiences. Up to each individual to be able to pick it up.
Agree.
I must say, mental health, as much as it's an important, very valid concern, a lot of people also take to the other extreme. Everyone seems to be needing therapy. When I was probably in 8th grade, if I needed therapy with one rap from my father and all my chakras would align, right? So I don't think that's fair in today's day and age.
What is that? That was enough therapy.
But it's not fair to go to the other side where every time you even raise your voice against someone, they have a problem. I mean, come on. Be so sensitive.
You can argue that there's a little bit of oversensitivity. But when I say we're not looking at the millennials to be, ideal role models. But boys start seeing their fathers communicate. They start seeing how they relate to their partner, the moms, and how they relate to, others in society, workplaces. How is it different in workplaces versus at home? And that's something you learn as you grow up, which I'm sure you would have done from your father. Now, when this generation is growing up, and there is I personally believe we don't have enough good examples of good emotionally available, but not even available, emotionally attuned, know how to articulate what they're feeling, all of that. The examples of such men, we don't show them out there in the world, hence Fight Club exists. And also why we have.
Thank you for paintbrushing all of us. Same. Yeah.
Because we are seeing also boys dropping from the system quite a bit with low education rates, abuse, mental health, suicide, all of those things are compounding to us. So they're getting this information from somewhere and they're not getting it from women specifically. They are looking at other men to say, this is probably how I'm supposed to. Whether that is very vocal or whether that is subcontext, understood, unwritten roles for those first skill.
So, I always believe it takes a village to bring up a child. I don't think it's one small microcosm from which we learn. Yeah, it's largely based out of home and then the social norming and upbringing. I also feel at some stages, unfortunately, this whole women's lib, equity, equality may be pushed to an extent where the younger generation is seeing it in a very negative manner, right? What happens to us kind of a syndrome. We were on the other side. Yeah, we were on the other side of the fence, and now they seem to be the receiving end. I see it at work too. People say, oh, someone got promoted because they needed to get an X quota of women.
Yeah.
True or untrue? Maybe not, but the narrative is such. And that's affecting the young man who's getting into the job market or even in college, where he's saying there was reservation anyway, and now they have some other quota and this quota, that quota. So I think all of that plays along. And I wish more than role model men coming out and speaking, I hope the narrative changes to the whole thing. Right? Ladke nahi rote narrative is changing. The ads are there. Some really fabulous ads, hard-hitting ads.
Yep.
Right? From an aerial washing powder to other things, right?
Just reshifted their position.
Everything. So, I don't know, it takes a village to bring up the kid. So, I don't think it's fair to put that onus on a parent or an immediate kith of kin to say that the upbringing, the onus of the upbringing is on you, and how that individual turns out is on you. I think that's unfair. And how I turned out, definitely, my poor parents, they did all they could.
Sure. Nobody handed them a manual of saying, this is how you should.
Yeah, they probably think that they've adopted their two sons. Poor things, right?
Your brother.
Our brother in the US. Far higher IQ, far more emotive in his expression of affection, far more open to having a conversation on mental health. Yeah. And I've learned a lot from him too. Exposures are different, experiences are different, and why not?
Where do you think this is going to go in terms of the debate? How are you excited for it?
I'm coming really to see and listen and learn. I think there's a lot to pick up from the youngsters who are going to come.
Yeah.
Arguably, I'll probably be the oldest man on the house, but yeah,
Hey,
I'll take
food
it.
is not bad. Plus, there's a lot of wisdom.
One for the team. But I think for me it is about listening. I will also, I've said this before to you. Fortunate, lucky. I don't think I'm representative of a generation such as mine. But yeah, that's really my key point of coming in.
Okay.
Listen, learn.
Well, that's going to happen on 26th April.
Sure.
And we will see Pradhan there, me there, and you there.
Thank you. See you all. Bye-bye.